Hey everyone, welcome to Big Flick Energy. We finally got an actual full-length trailer for this Spiderverse movie coming out, where the first movie I loved and I cannot wait to see the second one. So just before I continue on, I just want to say, so the first trailer for this film said that it was called Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse Part 1. But this trailer doesn't show that, and the reason that it doesn't show that anymore is because they changed the title of the next part, which is supposed to come out in 2024. They changed it from Across the Spider-Verse Part 2 to Beyond the Spider-Verse. So let's see what happens there. But for now, we're going to talk about what we saw in this trailer and how this trailer in and of itself already connects the Marvel Cinematic Universe to the Spider-Verse franchise. So there are two main ways where it does this. And it's actually not through the main universe in Marvel, or at least not yet. Because we see a ton of Spider-Man later on in the trailer, and trying to nitpick every single one is nearly impossible. But IGN kind of did part of that for us by showing us who a lot of the Spider-Man are. Now, I'm just going to say two of the Spider-Man that they got were actually incorrect. One of them being Kane, who is pretty much a clone of Spider-Man in the comics. That's not him. That's going to be another character that I don't know which character it's going to be, but that's not exactly how he looks. That was a reach. Then the other one that was a reach was them saying Tom Holland's Spider-Man was in the trailer, where there's a black and red suit in the trailer, which is reminiscent of Tom Holland's black and red suit in Spider-Man Far From Home. The only problem is that suit doesn't really look like the Spider-Man suit from the back. Yes, it's black and red, but the spider symbol is actually much more reminiscent of the Insomniac Spider-Man, which we actually did get to see in this trailer. So that's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And who knows, maybe Tom Holland's Spider-Man will show up, maybe Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man will show up, maybe Andrew Garfield will show up. But I personally think if they show up, that's going to be in the end of the trilogy, that's going to be in the Beyond the Spider-Verse film. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to do it in this one. I feel like they're going to try to set up a lot more in this one for the grand finale. So this is not Tom Holland, but this film already did connect two huge universes to the MCU and the Spider-Verse. The first one being Spider-Man Unlimited. So Spider-Man Unlimited was a TV show that came out in 1999 in the same universe as X-Men the Animated Series and Spider-Man the Animated Series, amongst other projects like Avengers United They Stand. So this show, it doesn't seem like it connects to the MCU because this show in and of itself does not. The reason that it all connects though is because of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. You see, in this film, we were able to see Doctor Strange and America Chavez travel through a ton of different universes to eventually land in Earth 838. Something interesting about traveling through those different universes had a different art style, which if you've been keeping up with what the directors of this film, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, have been saying, they've been saying every different universe that we go to is going to have a different art style. So it's kind of interesting that they're doing something similar in these two universes. Also, I just want to say it's kind of weird for the Spider-Verse to be taking the world by storm right now when the MCU is also working on their multiverse right now. Yes, it's part of the craze. It's not just Marvel doing it, it's also DC, it's also A24 with Everything Everywhere All at Once. But it's interesting that all these Marvel properties are starting to do it now. So for now, we have Spider-Man Unlimited that takes place in the same universe as X-Men the Animated Series. So I made a video a while ago saying that a ton of projects were in this Earth 838 universe where we meet Professor X, we meet John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic, we meet a ton of these characters. And in that video I said that the Inhumans TV show, amongst other shows like Cloak and Dagger, Hellstrom, that they take place in this universe as well, because we saw the exact same actor playing Black Bolt in the TV show be Black Bolt in the Earth 838 universe. However, I am willing to say I was wrong. I decided to watch a little bit of Inhumans just to make sure if I was correct. And because Earth 838 will go on red and stop on green, and in the Inhumans TV show they do not, I can no longer say that I was right there. However, I have not seen anything yet that has been able to disprove that this is the universe for X-Men the Animated Series. You see, because Professor X in this universe, as soon as he shows up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, he shows up on his iconic yellow chair, which is very famous because of the X-Men the Animated Series. Something else is, as soon as he pops up, he comes in with a theme song, the X-Men the Animated Series theme. So as soon as you see that, it's pretty obvious that they're trying to say this is that character. So if this is that character, that means X-Men the Animated Series takes place in Earth 838, alongside Spider-Man the Animated Series, The Avengers United They Stand, and of course, Spider-Man Unlimited. So now we see how Earth 838 connects to the Spider-Verse film, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe one character in one TV show that happens to be in the same universe as another universe we saw in the MCU isn't enough. So I want to give you guys another base of evidence. And this is when we see Spider-Woman in the trailer. It looks like she's going to be one of the main characters in this film. Now, something interesting is, as you can see in this picture, she was race swapped. Typically, I wouldn't say, I wonder what they're trying to do by race swapping her. But in this case, I am saying it because if you look at this other film that is going to come out very soon, Madam Web, we have gotten a casting for Spider-Woman in that film, and it is once again a black female. So how do they make this character that never looks like this now look like this in two different iterations of the character? Maybe it's because this is actually the same iteration of the character. And yeah, you can say, oh, but look how much younger the Madam Web casting is. And it doesn't really make sense because this is a multiverse movie. But guess what? Madam Web is actually another multiverse movie. Like I said before, why are there so many Sony properties that are going into the multiverse now? I don't know. Maybe it's because they actually have a plan to tie everything in together. And we still don't know why Sony eventually let Marvel use Tom Holland. There has to be a larger plan at the end of this, because Sony's made a ton of money off of those Venom movies. So I feel like there has to be a light at the end of the tunnel for these films. And I wouldn't be surprised if tying everything into the main Marvel Cinematic Universe is that light at the end of the tunnel. So having these two characters, which are probably the same character, look the exact same, I don't think it's merely coincidence. It's the same studio making these two films, and yes, the version in Madam Web looks younger, but time dilation is something that has been explored in a lot of ways so far in Marvel. Through films like Venom, where we somehow see Venom from 2021 show up in 2024 or 2025 in Spider-Man No Way Home. We've also seen it a lot in Marvel's What If, where a ton of these characters had events taking place in different years, but they were all brought together as a team to take on Ultron in this alternate reality. So time does not work the same way in the multiverse. So you never know if this is the same character, and maybe she in the Spider-Verse is actually from a different time period. Same as Spider-Man 2099, who is from the year 2099. Time is working differently, and we still don't know when Madam Web actually takes place. Right now, what we know about Madam Web is Peter Parker's mother is pregnant with him, and they're basically trying to make sure that Peter Parker is born and becomes Spider-Man. So if that's the case, it's possible that this film actually takes place in the past. And if it takes place in the past, it makes sense for Spider-Woman to look older now in the Spider-Verse film. So I believe that these two universes, the universe of Venom, Morbius, Madam Web, and the Earth 838 universe, which is of X-Men the Animated Series, X-Men 97, Avengers United They Stand, and Spider-Man Unlimited, I believe that those two universes have already been shown in the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer. Now, it's not Tom Holland, there's no Tobey Maguire, and there's no Andrew Garfield, at least yet, but from what we know, this is how Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will connect to the MCU. And let me just say, seeing Insomniac Spider-Man in that trailer makes me so excited. So now whenever you play Insomniac Spider-Man, you can say, that it is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, I hope you enjoy playing Insomniac Spider-Man. I'm really excited to see where Across the Spider-Verse takes us. And let us see if we actually get to see some of these characters, like Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. And if we don't, it's fine. Because we already know that the Spider-Verse is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe through Spider-Man Unlimited and Spider-Woman.